हरे कृष्ण माता जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
कृष्ण परम पावनी माता जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभुपाद।
जय श्री प्रभुपाद।
We will get started with the prayers. नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So this is going to be Bhakti Vaibhav class, and we are continuing chapter 5, which is Narada's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadev. I think today the schedule is to continue from verse number 16. Hopefully, we'll try to complete at least till 22. Let's see how we go today. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So before we get started with verse number 16, let me ask you a quick question. What was actually the flaw in Vyasadev's composition so far? Anyone would like to answer?
Yes, Mataji.
Go ahead, Padmini.
Go ahead, Padmini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The flaw is that the bhakti component in his all compositions were not fully emphasized.
So he was speaking about many different topics, right? So which are
Yes.
some of the topics he wrote on? He must have written a lot of topics. So, can you name a few
You know,
topics?
so the topics that he basically covered, is it in Vedas? He, apart from compiling the Vedas, he wrote Itikasas where he emphasized about various glories of Vishnu, and those components were, for example, in Mahabharata. But what exactly was missing is the absolute emphasis for prema bhakti, or that's what I think is.
Devotion. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Yes. Sadhamani Sundari Mataji, would you like to add? Very nice. Thank you so much, Padmini Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sadhamani,
Mataji,
you're muted. Yeah.
I wanted to mention that as they mentioned various parts of Devata worship and karma, jnana, and all these things may confuse the elementary people. So that's why Naradmuni pointed out.
That was something that was confusing people. He wrote about demigod worship. He also wrote about karma and jnana. Very nice. And then Satyam Prabhu, would you like to add, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. I think it was also mentioned like dharma, artha, kama, moksha.
Yes, he spoke about the four purusharthas, Janma, what am I saying? Janma, Vyadi. Okay. What is that? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yes, and all this was too much, repetitively mentioned, but pure devotion wasn't emphasized enough. Yes, very nice. And then, was it Narahari Prabhu and Bimal Prabhu, both of you? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Narhari Prabhu, please go ahead.
Mataji, the other point is that people generally have a tendency to enjoy their senses, and because Vyasadeva never pointed out what is the real purpose of the Vedic literature and describing everything in a flowery language, now they're going to use the Vedas as an excuse for sense gratification, and this was not something appreciated by Narada Muni.
Fantastic, very nice. Yes, Prabhu. So when Vyasadeva said that I have written about the four Purusharthas, I have written about Karma Jnana and demigod worship, because people are of different categories. So many different kinds of people are there. It has to be appealing to all the audience, right? But then Narada Muni, he found a fault. He said, no, you're simply encouraging their natural enjoying tendency. Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. Very beautiful. And Bimal Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, main thing was he wrote about all the Puranas. If you see the verse 14, it's like we are sailing in a boat and the boat has directionless. It is going in here, there, means in the Puranas, basically he has worshipped all the demigods, but he has not, glorified the God at all, the Lord Krishna at all, right? So that is the main crux where, the boat is showering here and there, here and there. It doesn't have a destination at all. And we are all getting lost. And if you see Mahabharata also, he wrote the Itihasas also. But in Itihasas also, people are now choosing only for sense gratification related. Bhagavad Gita was there, but people started ignoring Bhagavad Gita because they are not interested to be serious in bhakti.
100%, I agree. Yes.
So, people just wanted to read about whatever you just said, right? Arthaka, what is that? Moksha.
Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha.
Dharma,
Yeah.
Moksha. So that is what they are looking for, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Actually, that's interesting what Prabhu mentioned. Even Itihasa, like Mahabharata, he should have technically intended to write about Krishna, but he wrote the stories of all these people enjoying and enjoying and enjoying, and he was giving focus on that. And the boat analogy, I thought that's a beautiful analogy. Just like a boat stuck in the ocean, how the boat is unstable. Like that, our situation is already bad and we have become more and more unstable because of this kind of encouragement. Sankari Kaur Mataji, yes?
Hare Krishna Mataji. First of all, please accept my most respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and my pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are assembled here today. Mataji just reminds me what His Grace Pran Govind Prabhu says. He says, if you take out Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranam, and he mentions one more point I'm forgetting. He says, if you take these three things out, what's that?
Viduraniti.
Oh yeah, Viduraniti. So he says,
and Yaksha Prashna.
Oh, so he does not mention Yaksha Prashna, but he talks about Vidur Niti, I believe. So he says if you take these three things out of Mahabharata, It's an out and out Bollywood. So-
Yes, out and out Bollywood. In fact, more spicy than Bollywood. Even Bollywood, you see, most of the stories take inspiration from Mahabharata. All the stories in and out, there'll be an inspiration from some section of Mahabharata. Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Yes, that's true. Yeah, only these 4 sections are very, very precious. And if these 4 sections are not there, then it has no value. Yeah, and also the appendix, which is the Harivamsh Puran. It's very beautiful. It's full of Krishna Katha. That is also very beautiful. But other than that, it's all politics and a lot of spicy stuff. Stories, mundane stories. Okay, so we'll proceed. So what we saw is that bhakti is the only valuable thing. And Narada Muni was inspiring Vyasadeva that actually you should be writing about bhakti. Rather, these are the mistakes you have done. The work that you have done so far is jugupsitam. Jugupsitam means something that is not appreciated, it's detestable, it is not palatable, it is not good. So he's basically criticizing the entire work that is done by his disciple. So imagine the disciple's condition. He's created such fantastic magnum opus of literature, but then his guru is telling all this is useless. Yeah, so this is going to be a hard hit on Vyasadeva. But then every time a guru chastises, the devotee blossoms even better. And Vyasadeva is a true example of that, because in the chapter 7, I think we're in chapter 5 now. So in chapter 7, as per the instructions given by Narada Muni, he'll follow it very, very sincerely, and he'll meditate on the Lord, and he's able to recreate the Srimad Bhagavatam in a very exhaustive manner, giving focus to bhakti or devotion as the crux. Okay. So now we'll go with verse number 16. Verse number 16 is going to be the last verse in this section, where Narada Muni is telling him that whatever you have done so far is kind of very difficult to decipher. Okay. But in this verse specifically, this is the last verse in that section, and he tells that only an expert personality, only an expert Paramahamsa can actually decipher that the true essence of all the scripture is bhakti. So everybody cannot be an expert. So what you need to do is you need to describe the Lord's activities for a common person very nicely in the form of stories, so that any common person who reads one literature will be able to figure out what is the ultimate goal. So let's see what verse 16 is about. Vichakshano asyarhati vedit, sorry. Vichakshano asyarti veditum vibhor anantaparasya nivrita sukam pravrittamanasya gunairanaatamas tato bhavan darshaya cheshtitam vibho. Anyone wants to read the translation?
Prabhupada Ji ki jai. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality retired from the activities of material happiness deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Vichakshana means an expert person. Here, the Lord is mentioned as Vibhu. Okay. So Vibhor, that is one of the names of the Lord. He's Vibhu. He's everything. So only a Vichakshana and who's a well-learned person, Veditum, can really understand the glories, the Ananta Parasya Vibhu, the great glories of the Supreme Lord. And this person, this Vichakshana, he has given up all sorts of material happiness. That is why he is able to fish out the highest essence. But however, there are so many others who are stuck in this material enjoyment. So you have to tell them in a very simple way about the activities of the Lord. You have to show them the way, so that they can also realize these wonderful activities of the Supreme Lord. Tato bhavan darshaya cheshtitam vibhu. All the cheshta or all the activities of Vibhu, who is the Supreme Lord, darshaya, you show this path so that even common people can understand through simple stories, okay, simple literature. So this is what he's trying to tell Vyasadeva, that you have to create a literature by which anybody and everybody can read and they can understand what the highest goal of life is. Sorry, my screen as usual got stuck, so I'm trying to open my screen. No, purport. Now, Srila Prabhupada, he gives a very elaborate explanation to this point of Narada Muni. So he tells, actually, this theological science, generally any spiritual science, is a very difficult subject. It is not easy. Material knowledge is not as difficult as spiritual knowledge. Why is that so? Because this theological science deals with the transcendental nature of God. We are in this material world and we are dealing with three modes of material nature throughout in this world. So for us to understand the subjects dealing with the three modes of material nature is easy to understand. But then if there is a transcendental topic, it becomes very difficult, especially for people who are very much attached to material activities. If our mind is always hovering in this material plane, and if we are taking interest only in material things, how can we understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord? So, only an expert who's almost retired from all these materialistic activities is apparently able to understand this great science. Okay. In fact, even the Bhagavad Gita also tells the same thing. It says that out of many hundreds and thousands of men, only one person really enters into transcendental realization. And out of thousands of such transcendently realized persons, only a few can understand the theological science, specifically dealing with God as a person. Anyone knows this verse in Bhagavad Gita?
Bahunam Shanamante.
Yes, Mahudam Janmanamante. Also, Manur. Yes, Sudhamani Mataji. Go ahead.
Full words I don't remember.
Okay,
Manushanam
Manushyanam. Yes. Yeah, both are correct. Both are good words. Here is Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yatatamapi Siddhana Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And out of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Especially to understand with the theological science specifically dealing with God as a person, to understand Krishna as he is very rare. So Vyasadeva is telling Narada, you directly describe the science of God. Why are you giving this complicated scripture where Vichakshana should go inside and you should fish out and understand God? Give it directly now so that everybody can take you benefit of such a scripture. So he says, describe the science of God directly by relating the transcendental activities. Moreover, he's very confident on Vyasadeva. Narada Muni is confident on Vyasadeva simply because Vyasadeva has given up all the material enjoyment. He's an ideal person to write the scripture. Not only that, he's also an incarnation of the Lord. Not only that, he's the perfect person to actually receive this knowledge from Narada and transmit it. Okay, so Narada has full confidence in Vyasadeva that he'll be able to do this job. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is actually like a medicine. It can act very beautifully on the minds of people. Srimad Bhagavatam, when it is given in simple story format, directly about the Supreme Lord, without going through all this drama, if direct information about the Lord is given, then it's like taking small medicine doses. So the Lord is non-different from his name, form, and activities. So Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from the Lord. So if anybody is able to take advantage of Srimad Bhagavatam, then for him gradually the purification is sure to happen and he can come out of this materially diseased condition. Okay, so like this, using the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says it's such a dynamic activity, this devotional service. So using Srimad Bhagavatam, many expert devotees are able to transform the dull brains of the materialistic population. So these activities can bring a new order in the foolish society of materialistic men. So Prabhupada finally says, this one method is enough. If you just follow the Srimad Bhagavatam, then, especially in this age of quarrel, in the age of Kali, everybody can live a peaceful life and everybody can attain transcendental realization. A person doesn't have to go through humpty number of scriptures to find out the essence and, break their head and do all this. Rather, if the Srimad Bhagavatam is given like a nice medicine, when a medicine is taken, automatically it starts acting on the body. So like that, if the Bhagavatam is just given, a simple dose of Bhagavatam can clear all the problems of life. Okay, so with that, that section is complete. Yes, Bimal Prabhu?
Mataji, one quick question is, okay, we are talking about Srimad Bhagavatam, but Srimad Bhagavatam is not yet written, right? So how can we describe what Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So that's what, because
Yes.
that is not even formed. He is telling that we need to glorify God, but when you are using the word Srimad Bhagavatam, a little bit lost. Means he has to say you have to glorify the God. You write a literature, but we are using Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not even written, or which is not a little bit lost in that, Mataji.
Yes, Narada cannot use the term Srimad Bhagavatam. We are using because we know the answer. But yes, you have a point. Yes, this, you write the literature. Maybe that is the way of
Right,
saying.
right.
Yes, Prabhu, 100%. So Narada is telling you write a literature. Of course, these are all Prabhupada's realizations that yes, this one literature is a very good medicine dose. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. And Prahladananda Prabhu, would you like to add?
Galvat Pranam Mataji. I attended classes by His Grace Kanai Krishnadas Prabhuji, and he made it very clear that before Narad Muni came, Srimad Bhagavatam was already composed.
Of course, it is already there. 100% it is there.
Yeah, it was the rendition which was done after he made.
Correct. That is what
Narad Muni's
Tattva also says.
yeah,
100%.
so that was the
Prabhu.
point. Yeah, that was what
Yes.
I was thinking. Yeah, thank you, Mata.
Yeah, that's right, 100%. But to add to Bimal Prabhu's point, because it's both ways. One is all the 18 Puranas were composed already, 100%, like Prahladananda Prabhu said. But then the kind of literature that now Narad Muni wants Vyasadeva to write is that extra emphasis on the glories of the Lord and devotional service, which was absent in version 1 of Bhagavatam. Okay, so version 1 Bhagavatam is there, but still Narada Muni was not happy with version 1. He wanted a version that has complete emphasis on the glories of the Lord, which we are reading as Srimad Bhagavatam today. So both of you are right. Prahladananda Prabhu is also right, because version 1 is there now already. So the term
Yes,
Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no fault in that term.
The point was that, when we render service, and if there is no element of guru there, right? When Narad came, that was the guru. Now Vyasadeva said the guru element must be there before your service or your rendition can become really bona fide like that. That was the point was made. That guru element wasn't there in the previous edition of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what he emphasized, and I really appreciated that. Thank you, Mata.
Yeah, especially the Guru element of Narada Muni was not there. Maybe he had a Guru element, but not of Narada Muni, I feel, yeah. Yeah, but thank you, Prabhu. That's right. Unless that intervention of the Sadguru comes, it is very difficult to get the right knowledge. And also the Srimad Bhagavatam that we have today is also an effort that was not only just revised by Vyasadeva, it also Shukadeva Goswami's realizations are added in it, right? So it becomes sweeter. So that is the Bhagavatam that we get. That is the revision 3. And then the same Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by the sages of Naimisharanya, to the sages of Naimisharanya by Sutta Goswami with added realizations. So there are real layers and layers of added realization that is making it better and better. And that is the final version that we have in our hands, right? Even before, like you said, the mercy of the Guru is there. Like even before we got the version of the revised version of what Vyasadeva wrote, Vyasadeva entered meditation after these instructions. And in his meditation, he also, goes through a meditation where he's understanding what the Bhagavatam is. He's seeing the Lord with his internal energy and also the external energy under full control. So all that we will learn. And not only that, going back to how Narada got it, Narada also gets it from Brahma, and Brahma, he hears the Chatushloki. So actually the root is the Chatushloki. So like this, there are so many layers, and with so many layers, there is definitely more and more additions to this entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you all for adding. Yes, Bimal Prabhu and first Vrinda Vaishnavi, I think, raised her hand. Vrinda Vaishnavi Mataji.
Mataji, I just wanted to add, in addition to that, we have Prabhupada's purpose, so it is adding more value to it, to us.
Extreme value. Yes, definitely. Prabhupada's purport is the most important thing. Yes, for us at least. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Very true. Bimal Prabhu, you want to add?
So Mataji, so when what Prahlad Prabhu told, right, version 1 is available. So in version 1, like it was not 18,000 verses, right? It was like what portion of Srimad Bhagavatam was available at that first point of time?
We don't know now. So this is
Okay.
the version we have. So
Right.
yes, it was some Srimad Bhagavatam, but without enough emphasis on the glories of the Lord.
Right.
That's
We
why.
would say that, we would say the Srimad Bhagavatam being available when Sutta Goswami has said, right? So that is what I'm trying to communicate here. But as version 1 is available, that time Sutta Goswami did not voice it out, right? Means he did not preach.
Yes,
Right? So,
he did.
so version 1 is basically maybe doesn't cover 18,000 verses, but yeah, something was available.
Yeah, something was available. As Bhagavatam, something was there. But the point here is, it has gone through many versions and we have had the best version now today. Okay. With Prabhupada's purpose, we have the best version. That's all. So this is the Srimad Bhagavatam that we are relishing. But yeah, there's no harm in using the name Bhagavatam because it's all the same. Only thing is it's revised multiple times. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
And added realization. See, that's why when we talk about, I think in one of the chapters, the glories of the speaker, was it about glories of Shaunaka and glories of Shukdev Goswami will also come later. So each of these speakers, they have added their own, Suta Goswami and Shukdev Goswami. Suta says, right, I'm not repeating just things as it is. I'm adding my realization. Yataditam yatamati, he says. So every time there is a layer of realization that is added. Now when we are reading Prabhupada's Bhavartha, like yesterday Mataji was mentioning. So like for example, he uses certain words that can increase the meaning multifold times just by his translations. So it gives insights into the actual intention of what Shukdev Goswami wanted to say or Sutta Goswami wanted to say. So then we have another layer. So yeah. Okay. Thank you all. That was good. It was a good exercise also for us to voice out our thoughts and then come to a point where we understand the value of Srimad Bhagavatam with all these added layers. Okay, next verse. Verse number 17. So this section onwards, 17, 18, 19. These three verses talk about the greatness of the bhakti process, and this bhakti process, even if you start now, it is credited forever. Okay, meaning there's no loss in this particular process. What is that Bhagavad Gita verse that says that there is no loss in this process of bhakti? Anybody would like to say?
Neha Bikram Naso.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Of course. Yes, if you're there, then everyone will know this verse. Yes, our Praladananda Prabhu. Yes, Deha Vikramana Shasti. Yes. So there is no loss or diminution in this endeavor, Prabhupada says, right? In the translation. So that's what even Narada Muni is telling him. So now you write and you emphasize on devotional service. And this devotional service is so glorious that if you take it up, there is absolutely no loss. There's nothing to worry about. So that is this verse. I think it is there for memorization. It's a famous verse. So I'll say it once and you all, 3-4 people raise hand. You can repeat so that the more we hear, the more it is easy for us to memorize. Tyaktva sadar. Sorry, one second. त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेर् भजन्न पक्वो अथ पठेत् ततो यति यत्र क्व वा भद्रमभूदमूष्य किं को वार्त आप्तो अभजतां स्वधर्मतः. I saw Param Pavani Mataji, and so you can start Mataji, then Saudhamini Mataji. Should I move the screen a bit? Okay. Param Pavani.
Oh, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेत् भजन भक्वो अथ पतेत् ततो यति यत्र क्व भावत्रम् अभूत् अमुष्य किं को अभजतं स्वधर्मतः. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Saudhamini Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेः भजन् अपकोऽथ ततो यदि यत्र क्व वा भद्रम् अभूदमुष्य किं को वार्त आप्तो भजतां स्वधर्मतः.
Hari Prabhuji.
त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेर् भजन्न पक्वोऽथपते ततो यति यत्र क्व वा भद्रम् अभूदमुष्य किं को वार्त आप्तो भजतां स्वधर्मतः.
Nice, thank you, Prabhu. Nisha Mataji.
स्वस्त्या स्वधर्माचरम्बुजं चरणाम्बुजं हरे भजन्न पक्वोऽथपते ततो यदि यत्र क्व भद्रम् अबुदमुष्य किं को वर्त अप्तो भजतं स्वधर्मतः.
So, Tyaktva Swadharmam Charanam Bhuje Harer. If someone has given up their Swadharmam, Tyaktva means to give up. Swadharmam for what? Giving up Swadharma for the attaining Charanam Bhujam. Charanam Bhujam means lotus feet of Lord Hari. If such a person, if there is a person who is giving up Swadharma and taking shelter of the lotus feet of Hari, and if this devotee is apakva, pakwa means he is nicely ripe, okay? He's well established. Apakwa means half cooked, meaning he is not fully well established. Apakva atapatet tadoyati. If someone is apakwa, what happens? There is a fall down. He's not fully mature, right? So there is pataha. Pataha means to fall down. Pataha tatoyati. Ata pata tatoyati. Yatra kwa abadram. Okay. Abhud amushya kim. Kovarta apto abhajatam swadharmataha. So if such a person has a fall down, there is no question of abhadram in his life. Where is the question of abhadram? Bhagavatam is asking. Narada Muni is asking. Where is the question of misfortune for him? Even if he has fallen down. Even if he has fallen down, if he has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and even if he is apakwa, still, if he has fallen down also, where is the loss? Abhuda Mushyakim. Where is the loss? But what to talk about a person who's after artapta, that is, who's desiring artha, who's abhajatam, who's a non-devotee and who's attached to his swadharma. He is the one who's having the loss, not a person who has, although given up swadharma and trying to be a devotee, still having a fall down and not being pakwa. Even such a person is actually more fortunate. There is no misfortune in such a person's life than a person who simply engaged in artha of this world. Okay, so that is the meaning. Someone can read the translation.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, Satyam Prabhu.
Thank you. Translation. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. Yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything.
So Krishna also says that, right, in the Bhagavad Gita, that a person who has taken shelter of Krishna, there is no loss in what he has done. He is always protected by Krishna. In fact, there are some devotees who have given up everything. Krishna also recommends Sarva Dharman Parityajya Maham Ekam Sharanam Vraja. He also recommends that if you just take shelter of me, Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai. I mean, I'm mixing the two verses, but here Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Maham Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shucha. So he's telling, do not fear, I will take full care of you. Okay, Ramchandra also says this. Sakrideva Prapannaya Tavasmi Ticha Yachate Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai Dadatmi Yetat Vratam Mama. So if one takes full shelter of Krishna, yes, fall down can happen at any point. It's not that once you're a devotee, there's no question of fall down. Everybody will have fall down. Still, there is no danger in being unsuccessful. Why? Because Krishna has personally taken care. But then a person who's simply engaged in occupational duties without having bhakti, what is he actually gaining? He's just going from one planetary system to the other and he's circulating within this material universe. Okay, that is all he has attained. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, as far as the duties of mankind are concerned, there are innumerable duties. All of us have so many swadharmas. And we think our duty is only bound to our parents, our family, society, country, humanity, demigods, and so on. But actually, that is not our eternal duty. Eternal duty is to become a devotee of Krishna. That is the eternal duty. That is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means actually practicing devotional service to Krishna, Sanatana Dharma. The rest of the things that we are doing, our duty boundness towards humanity, society, family, all this, country, whatever it may be, is only Swadharma. So, according to the scriptures, one can even relinquish all these mundane dharmas to surrender unto the service of the Lord. Sarva Dharman Parityaja. The Lord also recommends that. Forget everything, come and surrender unto me. So, when one becomes successful in the discharge of his devotional service, if a person is fully surrendered, then everything is good. But then it also happens from time to time that one surrenders unto the service of the Lord just out of a sentiment. He's not very serious, just out of some sentiment, he surrenders and he may have a fall down. He may not be steady in his bhakti. Still, such a person is not to be blamed. In the long run, still he is actually victorious. So there are many, many instances of such fall downs in history. For example, you all know these stories, very famous stories like Bharat Maharaj, right? So Bharat Maharaj, he was obligated to a deer when he was in the forest. And because of his attachment to a deer, he thought of a deer when he died. And then in the next birth, he had to take birth as a deer. So, and of course, by Krishna's mercy, he remembered his previous birth, and in his birth as Jada Bharat, he perfected his life. So, what happened in the case of Bharat Maharaj? There was an apparent fall down. But at the end of the day, no big loss, because in the next birth itself, he caught up. So, if you look at the eternity of time, we have actually taken hundreds and thousands and millions of births. So going from one birth to other is also a very small time frame. So Krishna is telling here that there's actually no big loss. He has again come back to the path of bhakti and he has perfected his life. Similarly, Chitraketu Maharaj also fell down due to offenses at the feet of Lord Shiva. Parvati cursed him. But in spite of all this, what happened? He also perfected his life as Vritrasura and he went back to Godhead, even in a demon body. So the point is, once a person engages in devotional service to the Lord, he will continue the service in all circumstances. Today, Bimal Prabhu had forwarded one video of Guru Maharaj about a question asked, if I'm not wrong. This question was asked to His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And the question asked was, there are some children who are born into Krishna consciousness. And it so happens that they lose taste when they are growing up, when they are teenagers, or they just want to go and explore things outside in the world. And then what happens to them? Something like that, the question was. And Guru Maharaj was mentioning very nicely that even then there is no loss. He said, yeah, maybe they want to experiment something outside in this material world. They will go, they will experiment. Then they will realize that actually this Krishna consciousness is the higher taste. Whatever I was hankering for, outside it might have looked very shiny, but truly it is not. Truly, it's the most detestable thing. But then this Krishna consciousness is actually the eternal happiness. And that kid will eventually come back. And this is true for everybody. Maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, maybe 30 years. Why? In some cases, even one birth. Like the case of Bharat Maharaj or Chitraketu Maharaj. It can be two births also. It can be just 1 year, maybe 6 months. We don't know. Every case is different. But then the point Krishna is telling us, he will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, even very small quantity of devotional service can save one from the most dangerous position. So this verse was also quoted by Prahladananda Prabhu. That whatever situation you may be, if you have slipped from devotional service, still you will always come back. And Prabhupada says Ajamil is also another very good example. Ajamil in his early life, he was a devotee, but in his youth, he had a fall down. But still, the Lord will never forget. Even the Lord says in the Varaha Charama Shlokam that even because of Yadi Vatati Dosham, that is because of Vata and all these different doshas at the time of death, if you forget to remember me, Aham Smarami Mat Bhakta, I will remember my devotee and take him back. So this is the promise given by the Lord. So the Lord will never forget us and he will take us back. Okay. So this is the beauty of devotional service. So Narada is telling, emphasize on devotional service. So he says that it is better for you to endeavor for a person to endeavor for something that is very rare, that is very precious, that is like a diamond when it is given. Okay, that is verse number 18. So he says, Tasyaiva heto prayate kovido. Kovida means a person who's very intellectual, who's philosophically inclined, who's a great thinker. Such a person is called as Kovida. Okay. Tasyaiva hetu prayate kovido na labhyate yat brahmatam uparyada. So, na labhyate yat brahmatam upari ada. Upari means up, ada means down. So what is happening? We are doing this brahmaram. We are going up and down, up and down. The material people are going up and down in this world. That is what they're trying to attain. Na labhyate yat brahmatam uparyada tallapyate dukkavatanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. Can someone read the translation, please?
Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense gratification is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them.
Very nice. So persons who are actually intellectual, these Kovedas, they are looking for, they always look for something, and they should endeavor for something that has a purposeful end, proper reason, a proper hetu. Okay, what kind of hetu? That which is eternal, that kind of hetu they should endeavor. And that endeavor, that hetu that they are looking for, should not be obtainable just by wandering from one loka to the other, from Brahmaloka to Patala Loka. It should be something beyond that. Okay, a truly intelligent person will endeavor for something that is beyond this world. Why? Because if you're just wandering in this world, what are you getting? You're just getting sense enjoyment. And this sense enjoyment, you don't have to endeavor to get it. That is the point that is being made here. You should endeavor for something purposeful, something valuable. Do an endeavor to get something of value. What is of true value? nothing within this world is of true value. Why? Because within this world, one endeavors for happiness. But do you think you get happiness out of endeavor? No. Happiness is something that is automatically attained by course of time. Just like how even you don't endeavor that you want misery, right? None of us endeavor. We say we don't sit and do, tapasya to get misery. Nobody will do that. We don't want misery, but still we get misery. Similarly, happiness is automatically coming. So you don't have to separately endeavor for happiness. What you should endeavor for is something that is beyond the dualities of this material world, which is Krishna consciousness. So Vyasadeva is being told by Narada Muni, focus on that. Why are you simply talking about dharma, artha, kama, moksha? There is one more person who gave the same knowledge to his friends. Any guesses who that was? As far as happiness is derived from sense enjoyment, it can be attained automatically in course of time. But just like our miseries automatically come even though we don't want it. Yes, Saudamani Mataji.
Yeah, Prahlad Maharashtri's classmates. Recently,
Wonderful. I told her. Someone told? Okay. Yeah, we'll see that. Prahlad Maharashtra's classmates. So he also says the same thing here. This is 763. Sukam maindriyakam daitya dehayogena dehinam sarvatra lapyate daivad yatha dukkam mayatnaha ayan natha. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear friends born of demoniac families, the happiness perceived with reference to the sense objects by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life according to one's past fruitive activities. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor, just like how we obtain distress. Where is the question of endeavoring for distress? It automatically comes, right? So I like that happiness will also automatically come. Prabhupada is also telling this happiness and distress are obtainable in any form of life without any endeavor. There is no need to waste time and energy fighting against distress or working very hard for happiness. This is what we are doing constantly in our life. We are fighting against distress, working very hard for happiness. But however, the only business of human life is to revive our relationship with the Supreme Lord and become qualified to return home back to Godhead. So we cannot avoid such happiness and distress under any circumstance. It is bound to happen. So the best use of human life is to revive our relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is our actual business. Okay, now let's see what Prabhupada says to this purport in Bhagavatam in this particular chapter. So he says, if you are intelligent, you should just not be endeavoring for happiness and fighting distress. That should not be your business. You should endeavor for something that is greater. So write a scripture where something greater is emphasized. So now what is happening in this world? Prabhupada is telling, every man everywhere is trying to get a lot of sense enjoyment through endeavors. Some men, they are busy engaged in doing trade, in economic development, political supremacy, and so on. Somehow or the other, they are trying to become happy. And they're also doing fruitive work, punya karya, so that they can become happy in the next life, so that they can go to a higher planet. Okay. So it is also said in the moon, the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment of drinking somarasa. Here at the max, they can drink what is that? Wine, brandy, whiskey, all that. That is their enjoyment. But then in the higher planetary system, they can even get somarasa that is not brutally intoxicating in a negative manner. It is not, at least in the mode of ignorance. They get very powerful drinking somarasa. Okay, so it's sort of better than this world. And then in the Pitraloka can be obtained by good charitable work. So if you're not getting happiness here, they say at least do some punya so that after this life, you can go to higher planetary systems and there you can enjoy. So like this, there are different programs for sense enjoyment. That is what everybody is doing life after life. So some are trying to reach the moons by some mechanical arrangement and others are doing some good work. Okay, so what are we doing at the end of the day? We are only trying to enjoy. So Prabhupada is telling, we also see, even in this life, one can get good education or money by doing good work. Similarly, in our next birth, we can get desirable positions by good work. Otherwise, such things cannot happen by mechanical means. So if we really want to be happy in the next life, it is natural that you do some punya so that you go to higher planetary system. But then by our work, okay, by our work, because of our work, we are going to a better position and we are getting happiness. But then is it permanent? We going to higher planetary system, or the happiness that we have attained in this world, is it permanent? No, we are forced to come back again to the miserable world. So miseries and happiness are two features of the material world. And that is the nature of this material world. But everyone is, just like how everyone gets diseases and miseries, everyone also gets happiness. It's just a cycle. It is just a natural cycle. So all this can be done by some sort of a personal endeavor, meaning Prabhupada is saying no one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. Even if they are obtained, they can be lost again. So therefore, we don't waste time on all these, just with some personal endeavors, trying to get happiness, personal endeavors, trying to get miseries. There's no need to waste time on that because these are naturally going to come. So all that we have to truly endeavor is to go back to Godhead. That is the thing that is beyond this material world. So Prabhupada says that should be the mission of everybody's life. So this bhakti process, there is no loss even in fall down, and one should endeavor for bhakti. One should not just keep endeavoring for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That will keep you in this world, and that comes naturally. It is something that is naturally obtained. Just like how miseries are not desired, but they are naturally obtained. Okay. So now in the next verse, he tells how the results of bhakti are always permanent. If you take shelter of Mukunda's lotus feet, it is something that is always permanent. So let's see that verse. न वै जनो जातु कथाञ्चन व्रजेन् मुकुन्द सेव्यान्यवद् अङ्गसंसृतम् स्मरन् मुकुन्दाग्र्युपागुणानं पुनर् विहातुम् इच्छेन रसग्रहो जना. Translation, someone?
My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc., because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember the ecstasy again and again.
Just like we saw two verses before that, when you do bhakti, even if there is a fall down, still this fall down is not permanent, but then you go back to Krishna. Okay, there is no loss in this process. So like that in this verse also it is mentioned that the results of bhakti are always permanent. Why? Because one is completely attracted to Mukundangri, that is the lotus feet of the Lord. And he can never forget that taste. He can never forget that taste. He cannot do anything but remember that lotus feet. Smaran Mukundangri. Again and again, again and again, he's fainting. He's relished the mellow of this lotus feet of the Lord, Rasagraha. He's relished that mellow and he's fainting and falling again and again. So this is the nature of every devotee. Once the higher taste is obtained, like you all know again from the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone wants to say the verse? Savajam Rasopyasya? No, what is it? How does it start? This
Vishaya Vinivartana.
Vishaya Vinivartanti Niraharasya Dehinaha. Go ahead, Mataji. Rasavarcham Rasopyasya.
I forgot Mother.
Param Drishtva
Vishaya
Nirahara.
Param Drishtva Nivartate. Yes, higher taste. That is the Param Drishtva. Higher taste. So one has tasted the lotus feet of the Lord, he falls down in ecstasy again and again. And Prabhupada, he says in the purport, a devotee automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence. It is automatic, right? Because he is rasagraha. That means he has tasted that rasa. He's tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Krishna. All of us have seen that in our own lives, our initial years, and now how we are in Krishna consciousness. Before Krishna consciousness, our tastes were very different. Now our tastes have changed so much. Why? Because we have truly attained, at least we're trying, not that we've truly attained, we're trying to attach our mind and our senses at the lotus feet of Krishna. So everything is becoming Krishnaized day by day. Day by day, our lives are getting Krishnaized. We are losing taste in this enchantment of material existence. Of course, it's a very gradual process. It's not like we have become Paramahamsas or something, but still we can see some gradual change from day one to this day. So Prabhupada says there are certainly many instances where devotees have fallen down because of uncongenial association. It happens to us also, right? We also have slips and falls. It happens because of the association we take, because the association we take of fruitive workers are, it's prone to degradation when we take their association. But even then, a devotee is not considered fallen. Prabhupada says a karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive actions. But then, this is so beautiful. I also wanted to talk about one more verse here. These words of Prabhupada, just read this. A karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive action, whereas a devotee is reformed by the chastisement directed by the Lord himself. So what happens is a devotee becomes the personal property of the Lord. The Lord takes extra care and concern for the devotee. Even if the devotee is falling down, the Lord comes and personally chastises him. The direction is by the Lord. The Lord is the great director who's directing this chastisement. So nice, Prabhupada's comparison. The sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. It may appear like both an orphan and the child are maybe suffering out of cough and cold. Okay, an orphan is really poor because there's nobody to take care of him. But then a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be on the same level as the orphan, he is always under the vigilance of his capable father. This is the point. His father is capable. He's very capable. He's very capable of taking care of him. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong associations, sometimes imitates the fruitive workers. The fruitive workers want to lord over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks that he also wants to accumulate some material power. It happens to all of us. When we see some ordinary person who's endeavoring for something material, sometimes it can act on our mind and we also get very inspired. Hey, even I want to do that and I want to endeavor for it like that person, right? So sometimes a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Then what does the Lord do? The Lord puts such foolish devotees into some difficulty. Purposely, he'll put you into difficulty. And does this mean that the Lord doesn't like us? No, it is a special favor. He will remove all that material attachment that we have by that reformation action. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all his friends and relatives and he comes back to the senses again by the mercy of the Lord. We understand at the end of the day, the rest of it is not real shelter. Only the Supreme Lord is my ultimate shelter. And we understand that the Lord is so merciful to me. So he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute devotional service. This is actually interesting. I was also reading one more purport, which I thought I will show. Prabhupada's again choice of words, how he uses these words so beautifully. This is the famous Tatenukampam verse, quoted a million times by Prabhupada, how a devotee should be. Tattenukampam sushamikshamaano bhunjhana evatmakritam vipakam hridbhak vapubhir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo muktipade sadhaibak. In that verse, the last paragraph, I really like this so much. Every time when we have situations also, I always feel this verse comes to your to save you, because as a devotee, one has to be very tolerant. And a tolerant devotee is the recipient of Krishna's mercy. And in the last paragraph of this verse also, Prabhupada says, a sincere devotee desires to go back to the Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues offering respects and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, words, and body. Such a bona fide servant, considering all the hardship that he has to go through, only a small price to pay for gaining the personal associate of the Lord becomes Vaibhav, becomes the legitimate son of God, as indicated by the words Vaibhav. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the Supreme Lord, pure Krishna, without undergoing the same words he uses here, without undergoing a rigid purificatory process that may appear like suffering, which is in fact a curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. He's very poetic, Prabhupada. He says, a devotee may have to undergo certain suffering, but one cannot approach the Lord without becoming a seasoned devotee, right? And how does the seasoning happen? How does this purification happen? It happens by the curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. But remember, when the father is correcting the child or when he's punishing the child, he's doing it out of affection and he's doing it out of love. If we are nobody to him, why would he care to do it? Just because we are special, just because he wants us, just because he loves us, he takes that effort to correct us, to chastise us. So sometimes devotees are put, neophyte devotees like me, we are put into difficulty by the Lord himself, and we come back to our senses by the mercy of the Lord to execute devotional service. So Bhagavad Gita also mentions this, right? That fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth and family of highly qualified brahmanas or rich mercantile family. Anyone for the verse? Shuchinam Srimatam Gehi.
Tapya punya shrutam lokam.
Tapya punya kritam. Yes, very nice, Prabhu. Yes, so a person gets an opportunity to take birth in a highly qualified Brahmana's house or a mercantile family's house. But then Prabhupada is telling that is great. Yes, if he has fallen down a bit, he can take birth in these families. But then Prabhupada says they are actually less fortunate than people who are directly punished by the Lord. So he says the fallen devotee is born in good family, they are actually less fortunate than a person who's put into a forlorn condition. Why? Because the person who takes birth in a rich family, mercantile family or something, there is a chance that he might again forget the lotus feet of the Lord. But then if a devotee is put into a terrible condition, in a forlorn condition, he becomes more fortunate because it is so fast for him. He somehow or the other, he takes shelter of the Lord. He understands Lord is his only protector and he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord. So like this, if he's very helpless and he has nobody to go to, it's a faster process of purification. So that's how we see, right? Many curses, they turn into blessings. It may appear on the surface, oh, they are suffering so much because of this curse. But then these are intense blessings because quickly they're going back to the lotus feet of the Lord. So pure devotional service is very relishable and a person becomes automatically uninterested in all the sense enjoyment. And this is a sign of perfection of pure aggressive devotional service. So what is the sign? If a person is constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, not forgetting him even for a minute, then, if his mind is not attached to any of the opulence of this world, then such a person is surely being that Vaibhav who is being favored by the Lord. So, Narada Muni is telling Vyasadeva, you have to talk about this devotion. You have to talk about this bhakti. This bhakti is permanent. If a devotee just takes that shelter of the lotus feet of Vishnu, once he has smelled the fragrance of his lotus feet, how will he go to something that is lower? Think about the Kumaras. They just smell that fragrance once and they became devotees. They're like, hey, what was this impersonal Brahman all about? Right? So they become great devotees. So these are the glories of bhakti. It is surely an elevator process, very, very quick, and they can attain perfection. Okay, now we'll do 20, 21, 22 very quickly. I want to finish this section. So in 20, 21, 22, now Narada, he gives specific instructions to Vyasadeva. So now he has told about the glories of bhakti. He said bhakti is permanent, there is no loss. He also told that it is the most valuable asset. You did all this mix up of so many information and all your work was jugupsitam, but now you write something nice, right? He's given all these instructions. Now Narada Muni will give specific instruction what he has to do, what Vyasadeva has to write. Okay, we'll do these 3 verses now. Idam hi vishvam bhagavani vetaro yato jagatstana nirodha sambhavaha tatti swayam veda vabhavam statapite pradesha matram bhavata pradashitam. This is the instruction verse. Based on this instruction, you will see in the 7th chapter how Narada Muni, he meditates on Krishna and he sees Krishna with the external energy completely under the control and the devotee struggling because of the effect of Maya. And he understands that bhakti is the only way to turn these devotees' minds to Krishna's lotus feet. This is the seed verse that Narada instructs Vyasadeva. Later, Vyasadeva will follow this particular instruction and he'll see everything. That's why in this purport, Prabhupada talks about everything. He talks about the Jiva, the Lord, and the relationship between the Jiva and the Lord, Jiva and Prakriti, the relationship between Jiva and Prakriti. We talk about all of this in this purport itself. Okay, one might be wondering why is Prabhupada telling all this? Because this is the seed word that is verse that is given by Narada Muni, and later, based on this verse, our Vyasadeva is going to meditate and he's going to see everything in his vision. He'll see the Lord, he'll see the internal energy, the external energy, the Jiva suffering. And then finally he'll see, okay, the Jiva is taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord and getting out of suffering. So bhakti is everything. Then he he does the next revision, like Praladanand Prabhu was telling. Okay. So translation, someone.
The Supreme Lord Personality of the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is himself this cosmos, and still he is released from it. From him only was this cosmic manifestation emanated. In him it rests, and into him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows more about this. I have given only a synopsis. Sorry.
Indulika Mataji, can I ask you a question?
I don't know that we can see.
Mataji, your voice is very unclear.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now, Mataji?
Yes. Are you in a position to answer?
It's okay, Mataji, now. I think it's not audio is pretty bad there.
Hear you anyway. Okay, so let me ask someone, whoever is able to answer. The translation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is this cosmos, still he is aloof from it. Does it ring a verse of Bhagavad Gita verse in your mind? We have heard this in Bhagavad Gita, right? He is in everything and yet he is aloof from. Yes, Praladanand.
He says, Maya tatam idam sarvam
Maya
jagadav
tata vidam
vyaktamurti.
sarvam. Yes, Jagadav Vyaktamurti. Yes, Prabhu.
Matasthani
Beautiful.
sarvabhutani nachaham tesvavasya. Then contradicts himself. Nacha matasthani bhutani pasyame yogim aiswaram bhuta bhrunnacha bhutastu mamatma bhut bhava. Those 2 slokas.
Haribol, Prabhu, would you like to tell the translation? I mean, just the simple words. No
Okay,
need word
so
by. Yeah.
yeah. In 9.4, he says that, by me, in my avyakta form, avyakta murti, that's a Brahma effulgence. Maya tidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. It is all spreading like matasthani sarva bhutani. All bhutani, panch mahabhuta, all jivas, everything is in me. Nachaham te swavasthitam. I'm not in them. And then again he says, no, nacha matasthani bhutani. Pasyame yogesmara. So this is Achintya Veda which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has propounded for us. So this is, he says, Bhuta Bhrundacha Bhutasto Mamatma Bhut Bhavana. I am the maintainer of all these things, and I am the root of all these things. Although I'm connected with them, I'm not connected. So this is Achintya Veda Veda. And for us, it's like that. Thank you, Mata. Hari Bol.
Very well. Yes, very nice. Yes, that's exactly what Narada Muni is now telling Vyasadeva. See, Vyasa, you know all this. This is not news to you. It is not news to Bhakti Vaibhav devotees also. Everybody knows this verse, right? That the Supreme Personality of Godhead is himself the cosmos. He's everything. Still, he is aloof from it. From him only everything has emanated. In him everything rests. Unto him it enters after annihilation. Everybody knows this. Krishna has told it in the Bhagavad Gita, in so many places, over and over. Vyasadeva himself has written this. Idam hi vishvam bhagavane vetaro yato jagat sthana nirodha sambhavaha. Everything is the Supreme Lord, whether it is sthana, nirodha, whatever it may be, it is all the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is in it, but still he is aloof from it. So he's telling Vyasa, you already know all this. I'm just giving you a synopsis. Okay, I'm just telling you what you need to meditate and write down. So this was that seed verse. So here, so Prabhupada, in the purport, he really smashes this verse into, he just does everything. He puts everything, all the information that has to come into Vyasadev's head. So Narada Muni said 2 sentences. Prabhupada has given like a huge purport where anybody who reads that will understand what Narada intended to tell Vyasadeva. Okay, so let's see what the purport says. So Prabhupada says, for a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda. See, what is the translation again telling? The Supreme Lord is the source of everything. He himself is the cosmos, yet he is aloof from it. That means everything is Krishna. Okay, this world is also Krishna, but Krishna is away from it. He's in it, but he's away from it. And from him only everything is coming, everything is resting on him. And even during Nirodha, during annihilation, everything goes back into him. Okay, which means Krishna is the basis of everything. What is Krishna the basis of? Krishna, that personal form of the Lord, he is the basis of the impersonal Brahman. He is the basis of this material universe. He is also the basis of all the living entities. Okay, so he is in it, but he's not in it. Like how Prahladananda Prabhu was telling, he'll contradict himself all the time. So the same thing Prabhupada has written elaborately in the purport, describing the relationship between Krishna, Prakriti, Jiva, the relationship between Jiva and Prakriti, the relationship between Jiva and Krishna, the relationship between Krishna and Prakriti. And then finally, he tells one has to focus his mind on Krishna and go back to Krishna. This is what happens even in Vyasadev's meditation. Okay, exact same thing we will read again in chapter 7. So we'll head into the purport. So Prabhupada says, for a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda or Lord Sri Krishna should be understood to be both personal and impersonal. We all understood this. That with, what is it? Vadantita tattva vidaha tattvam yat jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Right? So the supreme absolute truth, that non-dual thing is known in 3 features, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, which means, and we also saw the example of the sun, sunshine and sun disk, and we know that the sun, complete sun, is akin to Bhagavan. That means Bhagavan is the most complete understanding. So that Bhagavan, Mukunda, is the source of both the personal understanding and impersonal understanding of the Lord. So this impersonal feature is also nothing but an emanation of Mukunda. That is, it is his personal effulgence, Brahmajyoti. It is also an emanation from him. Prabhupada says, just look at a tree. A tree is a complete unit, whereas the branches, the leaves, they are all parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and branches are also the tree. But the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. So we say, when we see the leaves of the tree, we say, ah, there is a tree there. But then the leaves alone is not the tree, right? So the leaves and branches of the tree are also the tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. The tree itself is not just leaves or it's not just branches. So the Vedic version is that the whole creation, this entire creation, everything is emanating from that Supreme Lord and nothing is apart from him, like that huge tree. So if a tree has branches, leaves, fruits, twigs, etc., so you can imagine that Supreme Lord is like that tree, and all these branches, figs or whatever, fruits or whatever is emanating is all a part and parcel of that tree. Similarly, when we talk about the body, I have the entire body, but my leg, hands, face, all this is a part and parcel of the body. But the hands alone or the legs alone cannot be the body itself. Similarly, the Lord has a form that is Satchit Ananda, and his energy, this creation also appears to be partially eternally full of knowledge and beautiful also, meaning the creation also appears to be like the Lord Satchit Ananda, not fully, but then he says partially eternal. It's because it keeps getting destroyed and it is recreated. So the Lord, the creation of the Lord that is coming from the Lord, part and parcel of the Lord, is also partially Sachidananda, not fully, it is partially. But what is happening to the souls in this material world? We understand that the creation is coming from that Lord. The creation itself is just like leaves or just a part of that ultimate whole. Okay. But that is also partially beautiful. Very nice. Very interesting. Very Sachidananda partially. But then what are we jivas doing here in this material world? We are looking at this partial beauty and we're getting captivated. This is what our condition is. All the living entities, we are all captivated and we are under the external energy, Maya Shakti. And we are thinking that this external energy is all in all. And we are not having enough information about the source of this external energy. So we are thinking, if supposing this material world is like considered to be nice, tasty fruit from the tree, we are thinking that fruit alone, that one fruit alone is all in all. And we are not understanding that the actual fruit belongs to the tree. The tree is the actual understanding that we have forgotten, nor have the information about the parts and parcels of the body being detached from the whole body are no longer the same hand or leg when attached to the body. So similarly, we are thinking, we jivas also, we are supposed to be a part of the tree. We are also part of Krishna. But what is our condition? We are detached. So we are not able to understand real information about God. We are thinking this material world and my connection with the material world is all in all. We are forgetting that we have to get connected to something that is more complete, that is not in our vision. Okay, we are also not complete. This material world is also not complete. We become complete only when we are in connection with the absolute complete, who's the Supreme Lord. So unless we get information about that absolute complete, how can we truly be complete? We cannot be complete, right? Similarly, a godless civilization that we are in, which is detached from loving service of Lord, is like a detached hand or leg. This material world, godless civilization that we are in, it's like a detached hand or leg. So we don't have any efficiency. So does it have any value if a hand is detached from a body, or if a leg is detached from a body, or if a fruit, yeah, fruit we can eat, but it's okay. A leaf detached from the tree, how long can it stay? Right? Not much. You cannot, it will not stay for much. So it doesn't have true value. Parts and parcels should always be a part of the whole. Otherwise, there is no value. The devotee of the Lord Vyasadeva knows this very well. So he was advised by Narada to explain this idea that you should always be connected to the whole. You're suffering because of your disconnection. You're in this world and you're thinking this is whole. This world is not the whole. That you're completely disconnected from the Lord. So these entrapped conditioned souls should take a lesson that they are disconnected and they should understand the Supreme Lord as the primeval cause. Only then they will be truly happy. But how to get that connection, right? How to get that connection? That's what he's telling you, right? The Bhagavatam. In that Bhagavatam, you tell the connection. The connection can be established by the process of bhakti. So again, Prabhupada says, according to the Vedic version, the Lord is considered very, very powerful, and his energies are also very powerful. He is the source of both the material energy and the spiritual energies. Now, this external energy, this Prakriti, is considered inferior, but there is a Parashakti, which is the superior energy. Who is that superior energy? The Jivas. We are also energy of the Lord only, but we are considered Para. Why? Because we are lording over the material nature. But remember, be it the jivas or the material world, both of them are under the control of that Supreme Lord. So it's like a big electric powerhouse. This material world can be like a big electric powerhouse. And we jivas are also inside this, having connections with this electric powerhouse, like little bulbs and taking connection from the electric powerhouse. But then the electric powerhouse or those little bulbs, they are not completely independent. They are under the control of that engineer who's going to switch on the switch. Who's that ultimate controller engineer? It is the Supreme Lord. So human being and all other living being are all products of his energies, right? So we are also similar to the Lord. We are parts and parcels of the Lord. He is also spiritual. We are also spiritual. Sachidananda. Spirits, souls. We call ourselves spirit souls, right? So we are of same category like the Lord. Material energy is dull matter. This jiva is lording over the material energy. How are we lording over the material energy? We are lording over the material energy and we are thinking we have become the creator. We have become the Ishvara. We are the controller. Prabhupada is telling a human being can create a small playful Sputnik and may throw it into outer space. But it doesn't mean that he can create a planet like Earth or Moon and float it in the air like the Lord does. We may create a spaceship and we may put it into the sky. But then it doesn't mean that we can really create another planet, and that is not possible. So we can never be equal to the Lord. It will never happen. So the human being, even if he is the best of all human beings, like Brahma, he's supposed to be the perfected human being. But he can also go only up to 78% of the qualities of the Lord. We have already read this, 1328, the purport we have read this. So only in a diseased condition, a foolish human being who's not so powerful can think that he is the Lord. So this is the condition of all we living entities. We are thoroughly misguided. We are thinking we are controllers, but we are very, very tiny and we are captivated by the material energy. That is our true condition. So now what should we do? We should accept the supremacy of Krishna and render loving service unto him. That is the only solution. For this only we have been created, so that we can revive our relationship. Without this, there cannot be any peace or tranquility in the world. So Vyasadeva is advised by Narada to expand this idea in the Bhagavatam. This idea was not expanded earlier, though we had a version, it was not expanded properly. In this Bhagavad Gita, also the same is expanded, same is told. What did Krishna ultimately say? He said, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, give up everything, surrender unto me. That is the only business of a perfected human being. So the Bhagavatam should also just emphasize that. Okay. So this is the instruction seed verse given by Narada, which will later take its course when Narada begins to meditate. In 4 verses in chapter 7, we will see the meditation of Vyasadeva, but not now. Okay, the same thing will repeat. That's what he will do. Now, text 21. Tvamatmanatmanamavehamo parasya pumsa paramatmana kalam ajam prajatam jagata shivayatan mahanubhava abhyudhayo adhiganyatam. So he says Mahanubhava Abhyudhaya. Abhyudhaya means pastimes. Yadava Abhyudhaya. There's a big poetry called Yadava Abhyudaya, the pastimes of Krishna. So, Abhyudaya, here Mahanubhava, Krishna is Mahanubhava, right? There are kritis, there are many kirtans that call him Mahanubhava. So, he is Mahanubhava, and his Abhyudaya, his pastimes, should be described very vividly. Adhiganyatam, very, very vividly should describe his pastimes. So he says, you're good. Now he's telling Vyasa that Vyasa, actually you're capable. He given the seed verse, right? You meditate and you write all this. He says, Vyasa, don't think you're not capable. Yes, I scolded you. I said you didn't do a good work, but then you're the most capable. Why? Because you have a perfect vision. Amoghadrik. Drik means vision. Amoghadrik. You have Amoghadrik. You have a perfect vision. Not only that, you are a plenary portion of the Lord. You yourself can know the super soul personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of the people. Therefore, describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Is this a question, qualities of Vyasadeva? I think it was a question. Maybe in your closed book, I don't know. Who all have seen the closed book will get a better idea. But these are the qualities mentioned of Vyasadeva. I'll read that for you. It's just from the translation directly. So he says, you have perfect vision, that is one quality, Amoghadrik. You know the Lord being his plenary portion, quality number 2. Number 3, you have appeared for the well-being of the people. These are the 3 qualities of Vyasadeva. So he tells, describe the pastimes more vividly. Yes, Madhurimai, Madhurimai Keshari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dhanapram. In Tuesday's class also there was one verse in which Vyasadev's qualities, 6 qualities were listed, Mataji. Verse 13.
Oh, verse 13.
13.
Then the question
So
should
that
be
be the
verse
answer?
13. Yeah. It should be that. Yeah. That should be the answer. I think the verse number would have been marked in the question paper, right? Because I remember Kirtida Mataji telling me this is the verse 13. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you can mark that if it's not marked, if verse 13 is not, because his qualities come again. So that's why I got confused. Anyway, okay. Now, Vyasadeva, he's qualified. That's what Narada is telling. You have all these qualities, so describe the Lord more vividly. This is an instruction. More vividly. You've written, but write it more. So Vyasadeva is an empowered plenary portion of the Lord. Okay, he has descended for the sake of the devotees. And these devotees, we have forgotten the relationship, our service to the Lord. Though we are parts and parcels of the Lord, we are very, very fallen, and we need to take advantage of such literatures that is written by Vyasadeva. And this writer, Vyasadeva, he's no ordinary person. He is doing the work of an acharya, and he has also learned it from a spiritual master. So definitely the knowledge that he is giving is perfect, and he's doing the work of an acharya. He is taught by his own conduct. Like this, one should also follow in the footsteps of Vyasadeva to become a spiritual master. So like this, if one learns from Vyasadeva, one can understand the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, as Vyasadeva himself is an incarnation of the Lord. Okay, so he calls out the qualities of Vyasadeva and he tells him, you describe the pastimes of Krishna more vividly. Last verse for today. Last verse, we'll finish in 2 minutes, okay? Idam hi pumsastapasah shrutasya vasvitasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichutto artha kavibir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Yad uttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Continuation of what he said. He finally says that you should glorify the qualities of uttama shloka. So continue to glorify the qualities of the Lord. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of advancement of knowledge, which is austerity, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who's defined by choice poetry. Uttama Shloka is the one who's described by choice poetry. So, what is the ultimate purpose of advancement in knowledge, or doing some austerity, or studying the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting? All this, it culminates in describing the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada says we all have human intellect, and with this human intellect, what are we doing? We are becoming experts in art, science, philosophy, psychology, and all that. But then with all this expertise and material knowledge, we cannot attain the perfection of life. Therefore, the Shruti says that if you really want to be advanced in learning, you should aspire for the service of Vishnu. However, enamored by this Vishnu Maya, we are all thinking the perfection of life is to perfect knowledge about mundane things. Not that we should not have knowledge of mundane things. We can have, but then we don't get attached to it. So Sri Narada Muni explained that everything is coming from the Lord. Everything is set into motion by the Lord. He is the source of everything. Nothing is different from him. Okay, everything is coming from him. So what should we do? All the knowledge that we have, we try to apply it in the service of the Lord. So the Lord's name, form, qualities, everything is non-different from him. So we may be experts in subjects like science, philosophy, physics, psychology, whatever. So if we are experts in all these fields, then we use all our knowledge in these fields in glorifying the Lord. So we can bring Krishna in every aspect of our life. There are astrophysicists who have studied the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, like Sadaputta Prabhu. Okay, so there are great poets who have used their poetic skills in writing about Krishna. They are great authors who have written nice books about Krishna. So like that, Vyasadeva is one of the great authors. So he's telling Vyasadeva, include your talent in glorifying the Lord instead of glorifying dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So he says philosophy and science should be engaged in establishing the glory of the Lord. Doesn't matter, yes, you have a lot of material learning, but then all this material learning, don't get entangled in it. Use it in the service of Krishna. So philosophical speculation, okay, use it. Use it to establish Krishna as the supreme absolute truth. So like this, all branches of knowledge should be used in the service of the Lord. The same thing Krishna has affirmed in Bhagavad Gita. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is nothing but science. Real utilization of advanced knowledge is to establish the glories of the Lord. That is the understanding. So scientific knowledge that is engaged in the service of the Lord is factually Hari Kirtan, or glorification of the Lord. So these are the instructions of Narada Muni. Now, after all this, Narada Muni, to tell that bhakti is obtained by the mercy of devotees and not by any austerity or all other physical processes, he will tell his own story. So his story we will start next week. Narada Muni's life story. Because always a good preacher is one who speaks from his experiences. Right now he has given instructions. He has told him, you write this, you write that, you present it like this. So many instructions. But then he has to tell from his experience. And he has to tell that nothing can happen without mercy of devotees. Bhakti will not flourish without mercy of devotees. And to explain that, he tells his own story and his experiences with Bhakti Vedantas, which we will see in our next class. Okay. We'll stop here. Whoever wants to log out can log out. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, you can ask. No questions, we can all go sleep. Okay, we'll end here then. Yes, Parampamini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, when is the first exam?
Have a long time for that. It's at the end of 10th chapter or 9th chapter. It'll be in handbook. Does it say 9th chapter or 10th chapter handbook?
I need to check.
Yeah, I think it's 9th chapter, Mataji, because 10th chapter onward the topic changes. So it is 9th chapter, I think. Yeah.
Asking because Mataji, like I missed many classes, like maybe 3-4 classes, because I'm moving. Like I have already moved, and that's why I'm like bit behind. So I was worrying, like if the exam is coming.
It's not coming, it's a long way to go, Mataji. So we are at the 5th chapter, and we have his story. His story will take a while, and then the next chapter is a continuation of his story. And then Vyasadeva will begin to meditate. So we have a lot to go, Mataji. By the time we come to the 9th chapter, there is so much more to go. Okay? You can catch up. And I believe Bimal Prabhu has started answering the short answers. So please take each other's help and then come up with the answers and then start preparing. And whenever possible, answer test 2 also. We have uploaded the shlokas. We have reduced it from the original a bit. I won't say a lot, a bit. Some even in this chapter, there were so many verses for memorization, but we just put only 3. So anyway.
Mataji, in the dashboard, I was not able to trace the questions. Mataji, is there any problem?
Can some student show? I don't know how the dashboard looks for a student. Bimal Prabhu, you have it? Let me do something. I'll just send it on WhatsApp. I don't know.
Yes, Mataji, maybe watch it, maybe download it.
Mataji, you want me to show?
Yeah, show the dashboard, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure.
अभी हम मजबूरी है
Share my screen.
क्या मजबूरी है वो नहीं जा सकते ना गौरव को मैं
We should go on mute.
अंडरटेक किया हुआ है
Second. Yeah, so yeah. So here is the dashboard. Here is the closed book questions. So if you see on the left side, right? You're able to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see, right? All closed book.
0 2. Okay.
And then here is the memorization verses. Mataji, in memorization, you did something which I did not like.
What
You
happened?
included the synonyms also, Mataji.
Oh, I'll tell Mukta. Actually, I didn't do it, but I'll
Yeah,
tell Mukta.
the first one was good. It was easy to, when you're reading, you can quickly see the synonyms also, right? So this time that congestion happened, so I thought again I have to do one more.
Okay. I'll tell Mukta Mataji. Actually, she was the one who put everything together.
The synonyms are mandatory, Mataji, here. The test one was very good. Yeah. Okay, all good?
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Nisha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I was just wondering, is the exam for test 1, is it going to be more strenuous than what we had before? Like we used to get 40 questions, 45 questions. Are we going to get like 100 questions this time? Or is it going to be the same pattern?
37 questions. We reduced 3 questions for you.
Reduce 3. How many questions do we have? Sorry, I haven't had a look at the questions.
37, right?
37? Okay.
I don't know. Bimal Prabhu will know better.
Mataji, I did not count like the cumulative way because you have given this chapter wise, right? So I just
with my very bad, when I was in LKG, UKG, I got least marks in counting. I can't count well, but I remember seeing my report card and I was like, I can't do math. Okay, anyway.
Mataji, 37 questions for all 10 chapters?
No, test 1, right? Test 1, Mataji.
Test 1, yeah, 9 chapters. That's all. Very easy. And each question is only 2 mark, 1 mark, 4 mark, like that.
That sounds easier than
Bhakti Shastri. Yeah, we don't know. Every module will be different. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. We'll end here and everybody go and relax. We'll meet again on Tuesday and hopefully we'll start seeing this great story. And I don't think we'll finish it in one class because the story is quite big. So we'll take at least 2 classes to finish Narad Muni's story, then we'll go to chapter 6.
Mataji,
Okay.
by any chance you're coming to Sadhu Sangha?
I'm not coming, Prabhu. Kirtina's also not coming. Both of us are not coming. We'll miss all of you. But if you're going, please send pictures.
Yeah, I'm definitely going.
Yeah. Thank you, dear devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhevcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, all glories to all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Spiritual
Jai
Bhakti
Srila
Mataji
Prabhupada.
ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji.